This podcast is a proud member of the UUOP Network.
Are you ready to go the distance with Tricia's Disney pick? Or will Melinda deliver a Jurassic-sized knockout punch with her universal choice on this episode of Theme Park Throwdown?
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 12 of Theme Park Throwdown. I'm Melinda. You can find me at Melinda's Magical Adventures on Facebook and Instagram and pretty much everywhere else. And I am here with
Tricia at Tricia Travels on Facebook and Tricia Travels 85 on Instagram. And if you need help booking a hotel during a tornado, I am currently doing that right now. So, yay!
everybody wish us some luck because Tricia has had a bit of trouble with some weather over the past couple days, and it is supposed
Now
to
I'm
hit
sending it
my
your way.
area. Yeah, it's supposed to hit my area in about 2 hours. We already have like some pretty serious tornado watches and stuff like that going on. So, just send some happy thoughts our way. But we are here and we are devoted. Dang it. So
Yes.
let's get this episode going. Before we dive into our topic for this week, we're going to take you back to episode 8, which was our Battle of Park Transportation, where we pitted Universal's wonderful water taxi and the buses against Disney's monorail and Skyliner. You guys voted in our Who Won poll, and the winner of that episode was Universal. I was quite surprised that Universal won that battle because I know how people feel about their Skyliner and their monorail, and I was kind of shocked.
I'm not gonna lie. I find using Universal Transportation a lot less anxiety provoking.
It's fair.
It's
just easier.
So, yeah.
Like, it is easier, but in some ways it's not. Like, Disney, you don't have to deal with going to, well, okay, I was going to say you don't have to deal with going to a transportation hub, but what's the ticket and transportation center?
Well, yeah, for some of your parks you do, yeah.
Yeah, but like you don't have to deal with being dropped off in like Disney Springs and then going through security and then going into the park like you do with Universal. So
that is true.
Yeah. But hey, I'm not going to be mad at a Universal win.
I can't fault it.
I love my water taxi. But for our battle this week, we are going to kind of take on a bit of a doozy of a topic. This is going to be a bit of a heavy hitter. It might get pretty tough. We are doing the battle of the best themed land. So we will see where this goes. Tricia and I each chose one land across all of our properties parks that represents the best, most immersive, most detailed area. And so here we go. Tricia, you ready to put your dukes up and battle it out? I would be a horrible fighter. Look at this. What is this? No.
Right. Me slapping.
Yeah.
I just want to say, I think Disney does a really nice job with theming areas. And I'm going to tell you all about the one I picked, which isn't surprising based on my love of things. But I do want to shout out Toy Story Land in Hollywood Studios, I think is phenomenally themed. And out in Disneyland, well, it's actually DCA, Disney's California Adventure. Their Cars Land is just insane. They have full-size cars that come out and like go down the street, and they can do meet and greets. Like, I have a video, I'll have to post it if I didn't already, of their fire truck from the movie, like greeting people as it's going by, and it's like, that's a full-size vehicle and it's not crushing people. That's impressive. But But with that
Hopefully they
said,
bring
of
some of that
course,
to the new Cars Land at Magic Kingdom. That would be cool.
yeah, they really should. It's such a unique
Yeah.
experience. So
I
we'll
don't
see
see
what
why they
happens.
wouldn't. It's going to have its own whole land here, so
Yeah.
fingers
So,
crossed.
but because I love Star Wars and I am wearing my Disneyland, it's got a little Grogu down here,
Yeah.
Spirit jersey zip up hoodie. I mean, this thing I've like worn this as much as I can. I'm like one of those kids that keeps pulling their clothes with a dirty hamper because I don't want to not wear it. I swear I do wash this. But I have to talk about Galaxy's Edge, which is on both coasts, and they opened just a few months apart, starting on the East Coast in Disney World in 2019, which is kind of like sad timing considering what happened shortly after they
Yeah.
opened. Things kind of went on a hiatus for a while for the whole world. But I am a huge Star Wars fan. I wear something Star Wars every single day since my birthday in 2019, actually, when I met my
Oh my god.
hero, Ashley Eckstein, the voice of Ahsoka
Yeah.
Tano, at Star Wars Celebration in Chicago, which to this day, when you hear this recording, will have been 2,560 days of wearing Star Wars. So go me. And also, I need to go to like a therapy group.
Crazy.
I know. I have
That's
problems.
wild. Hey, you
So,
love what you love. There's nothing wrong with it. See, now
with
my version of that is like I get a tattoo of it. So what's
oh, I have
worse?
that too.
Like love it.
Oh, oh man. Yes. So I'm going to be very passionate about this. So please, voters, don't let me down this time. We've given enough to Universal. All right.
Show
But
Disney
anyway,
some love.
so Galaxy's Edge, which is also like on the planet of Batu, is set in the Outer Rim. It's kind of like a Route 66. So originally it was this like huge transportation hub, and then as more hyperspace lanes open, people kind of stop going there. And so now it's sort of this place where like people go to hide, which is why we have the resistance in one area, and where people can go to like, you know, get away from like the law. So we've got, like Olga's Cantina. So there's actually a lot of lore built into this land. And I have a visual aid. If you're interested in learning more, because I'm obviously not going to cover everything, I highly recommend this book. It's The Traveler's Guide to Batu. As you can see, I use it like an actual travel guide.
You are
With
so
sticky
funny.
notes.
I love it.
Yeah, I love this book. And this was just kismet. The author of this book happened to be in Disney World when I was there. And I was reading this and I was walking around and I was like, pointing stuff out. And he walks up to me and he's just like, "Hey, what do you think about that book?" I'm like, I just gush about it. I'm like, "Oh, it's like a travel guide. It's so awesome." And then I'm like, "Look at this." And he's like, "I wrote that." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm so and so." And I'm like, I look in the cover and I'm like, "What?"
I would
So
have
I got my
peed
picture with him.
myself.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. That was like my 30 seconds of fame. But anyway,
I love it.
so I'm just going to hit some highlights. Depending on what side you enter, and both Disneyland and Disney World, the layout is very similar, so it'll be very familiar regardless of where you've been. But if we're starting in the Resistance area, you'll see like X-wings that you can get like photo pass photos in front of. Sometimes they'll have like magic shots with that, but that's where your Rise of Resistance is. And I feel like at this point we should lift the moratorium on like spoiler alerts. But this thing
Yeah.
is like,
I
it's
think
like
you're all right with
three,
Rise.
I swear to God, it's like three rides in one. You have this like transportation shuttle you're on, and then you're in the First Order and you're escaping the First Order, and just like, I like the cast members play the roles of
Yeah.
the guards and stuff so well.
They're
I
so
honestly
fun.
think it's like, I honestly, outside of like actual character meet and greets or like dining, I think it's some of the best character interaction you can get, really.
Yeah,
And
I
play
agree.
into it because they are so good at what they do there. So that would be my recommendation. That area is actually based off of, they have a couple novels. So there's a character, her name is Vi. You might see her around. She's darker skinned, she has blue hair. She's in one of the novels, and her whole job, she was sent to Batu by General Leia Organa, and to recruit. So they hide out in these caves that were like created by an ancient civilization. So there's all these booby traps and stuff. So when you're in the queue, you're actually walking through these ancient caves of the resistance, like headquarters or base on the planet. That's the whole concept of that. So
That's cool. I never
keep
knew
that
that.
in mind when you're walking through there. But I just think it's a phenomenal attraction, especially if it's in A mode. B mode, it's kind of laughable, but it's also still entertaining.
Yeah.
Um,
I love going on that ride with people who had never ridden it before
yeah.
and seeing everybody's. Oh my gosh, when I was there a couple of weeks ago, there was like a school band trip. And so it was a bunch of band kids who typically have a large love for Star Wars, and none of them had ever been on this ride before. And it was just me and all these like probably 16-year-old boys who love Star Wars so much in this cart. And it was one of the best rides on any ride I've ever had, because just their reaction was just pure joy and amazement. And when we came into the room with the AT-ATs, I swear to God, they like one of them almost threw up because he was so excited. It was so awesome just to like experience their joy, live vicariously through their joy. It was fantastic. I loved it so much.
And I think that's something that's so great about theme parks, especially if you've been like you're a veteran, is getting those experiences and seeing people seeing
Absolutely one
things
of
for
my
the first
favorite
time.
things. Yes, the
Yeah.
best. Riding Popeyes at Universal with people who have never done it before and don't know what to expect. Top tier. Top tier.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Wear a swimsuit. That's my words of
Yeah,
wisdom.
100%.
um, but as we like start to exit out of the resistance camp, there's sort of this like neutral territory. That's where like your marketplace is. You'll see Savvy's Workshop, which is a proclaimed like junk store. On the down low, he's actually like by getting pieces for your lightsabers. So if you want to build a lightsaber of your own, this is where you would make an advanced reservation. Highly recommended. It's a very small venue. I did this once back when I could afford the lightsabers. They have increased in cost pretty significantly. So just be aware that if you're going to do that, it is costly. But you get a really cool like bag to put it in, and like everybody knows when you're walking around what you have. So you feel kind of badass, I'm not gonna lie. And I was able to take it through TSA without any issues. So just
Good.
heads up if you need to take it as your carry-on item if you're flying. Also in that area, you have Doc Ondar's, which is the like antiquities. There's a lot of Easter eggs in there for Star Wars fans, but that's where you can buy a lot of like, they have these things like Sith holocrons and like jewelry and like helmets. So stuff that they don't sell Batu labeled items because they want it to feel authentic. So like they have a small toy store and they sell these things that look like they're almost handcrafted, like little stuffed animals and little like wooden toys. They have a creature store that you can buy like a loth cat, or you can buy a porg. My daughter got one of like the animated like shoulder porgs or whatever, and it like
They're so cute.
unless you hear it all day long, they get less cute.
Like the
um,
Furbies from the 90s where they would like
yes,
go off
yes. Oh my
go off in
gosh.
your closet in the middle of the night.
That was terrifying. But so there's some great like shopping options in there. There's also like it's Kat Saka's kettle stand. It's like flavored popcorn. In the novels, there's like a whole story like about on the outskirts of the town. It's a farming community, and this person like brings her grain to the market to sell, and that's what Kat Saka's is.
The cold brew.
Yes. Oh, yes. Is that the one with the puff cereal on
The,
top, right?
yeah,
Yes.
the Cocoa Puffs.
Yes. You
Yes,
need to
the cold
try
brew
that.
black calf. If you
Yes.
haven't tried it and you like strong coffee, it is very strong, but oh my God, it's
Yes.
so good.
Yes. You can go light speed without being in the Millennium Falcon drinking that, I swear to
For sure.
God.
Yeah.
um, but then you hit Ronto Roasters, and that's kind of the end of the market. They do breakfast and through dinner. That's mostly like sausage wraps and stuff. I highly recommend trying this any meal, but I kind of particular to breakfast. They have this really great sauce they put on their breakfast version, and it's phenomenal. And then there's also another dining area. Their docking bay is kind of like tucked right behind that. They do more lunch and dinner. It's run by Cookie. You can see his ship on top of the building. He's sort of like a galactic food truck, is kind of his story. There is literally a whole cookbook. Yes, I do own it. And there's a story about him in there. I know, right? I've made stuff from it. It's really weird stuff, but it's fun to make. Like there's the blue shrimp from like the Mandalorian and stuff in there. It's crazy. But they serve things like tip yip and things like that. It's all chicken and like real food based. It's not just like, what is this? It's spam and whatever. No, it's actual real food. And honestly, the portions are pretty decent for the sizes. And like it literally is like tip yip is literally chicken nuggets, So I highly recommend if you're looking for an immersive, like themed area, the food there is pretty normal, even though it sounds weird. And they've put descriptions so people know now like what the items are. In that area as well is where in Disney World you will see the Mandalorian. He in the market area, it kind of starts with like the bathrooms and then you walk through the stalls and it ends with the Ronto Roaster area. So he comes out near the bathrooms. There's a cast member kind of hidden entrance. So I got to meet him. I was infatuated. My husband took pictures of me just fawning over him, and I don't care
Aw.
because I love a man in uniform. In Disneyland, though, they have the creme de la creme because they get Darth Vader, they get Luke
Uh,
Skywalker, and my favorite, like I
oh,
said, Ahsoka Tano, and I got to meet her when I was in Disneyland. And
yay.
okay, first of all, I'm really glad they didn't call security on me because they post in the app like the times that the time they should be coming out, and you don't know really where they're going to be. They just wander. So I told my daughter, I'm like, she's coming out this time. We're going back there. And she and I are just like, we split. She's like walking through the market. I'm walking down this like alley, and we're like, and I'm looking and I turn and I see her like she literally was coming out of like this kind of foliaged area. And I go, because that's her nickname in the animated series. And I saw her jump and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm just really excited to meet you. And she was like, I could see on her face, she's like, is this a lunatic? Like, and I'm just like, I looked at her. I'm like, I met Ashley Eckstein. I'm not crazy. So I started the interaction with her. And then I could see her relax, like, okay, this woman is not going to tackle me to try and hug me or whatever. But she was so great. She was like, she was asking us questions about Star Tours because she knows
Mm,
R2D2. And if you've been on Star Tours, he's part of that. And I mean, just
yeah.
great character interaction there. But kind of once you get past that area, that's where you see the Millennium Falcon. And yes, I took my brother. He and I are huge Star Wars fans. It's the only time I've ever seen him cry. Not gonna lie. So it is breathtaking if you're a Star Wars fan.
It really is.
And
Even if you're not a huge, like, I like Star Wars, but I'm not like a huge fan. I know almost nothing about like all of it, really, to be honest. I mean, let's be serious here. I watch it for Anakin Skywalker and Hayden Christensen. That's why I love it.
good choice.
Darth Vader was not happy with my Anakin Skywalker shirt when I met him a couple weeks ago in the park. Let's just say that. He saw my shirt and went, no. I was like, oh.
I
But
sense the
even
good in
not
you.
being like the biggest Star Wars fan, yeah, even not being the biggest Star Wars fan ever, it really is impressive.
Yeah. Um, I think as a family, we actually like Smuggler's Run, the attraction that's like you fly piloting the Millennium Falcon, because it can be different. And they're coming out with a new video. So there's going to be new scenes in this. So we're going to get to see what that's like. But one thing I think that can get overlooked, there's a really great animatronic when he's working. Sometimes he's in B mode and it's just on a screen, but that's Hondo Anaka. And the whole concept is if you know, like the deep dive, he's a pirate, but he's gone like straight and he now works for like a shipping company. I love that character because Star Wars nerds know him very well. He's very well like projected in the animated stuff. And if you don't know him, he's still an entertaining character to watch in that pre-show before you actually pilot the ship. But after that, that's where you start to kind of see a turn. You hit Olga's Cantina. It's a little like, like the scum and villainy kind of high like place to hang out. Sometimes you'll actually see the First Order troopers go in there and they'll like question
They
the
came in when
patrons,
I
which
was
is
there.
funny. Oh, did you
Yeah,
get
it was
asked
really funny
anything?
because no, I didn't. But like the couples next to me did, and it was really entertaining because the second they walked in the door, everybody started booing them, and somebody like balled up a napkin and threw it at them, like they wanted them to. It was very entertaining and like unexpected. I didn't know that they did that, so that was really cool.
And if they're not hanging out in there, you'll see them. There's a First Order ship. It's the command ship that is Kylo Ren's. They'll be walking through crowds. There's kind of what I would say is the equivalent of a mechanics shop in a way, because there's speeders on the bottom and then there's like a gangplank, metallic gangplank above that. And it's like equally shared by all, like Ray is there, Chewie is there. Sometimes you'll see Vi there. And then you'll see the stormtroopers like separately. You never see them together because the whole concept is they're there to try and like hunt down the rebel or the resistance and find the camp. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think the troopers honestly are the most entertaining. I was there with my brother a few years back and we were watching the show where they come down the ramp, and it's usually like the two of them at first, and then there's usually like a lieutenant or something or a captain that comes out before Kylo Ren. And it was just the two of them. And there weren't a ton of people, because like it's very impromptu kind of when they do that show. And so my brother and I are standing there and I actually booed really loud and they heard me and they looked at me and I made like this innocent face and I pointed at my brother like he was the one who booed. And like the trooper did like that. So it's really entertaining. I just love being in that area.
Yeah, I had a cool interaction uh last year when I was there with my kids. And that was the first time that I had seen Galaxy's Edge. And so I was just kind of like amazed by all of it. And I was sitting outside. Where was I? I don't know. I was sitting outside somewhere drinking that cold brew black calf. And I felt somebody put their hands on my shoulders. And I thought it was my husband coming up behind me. And I turned around and it was Ray. And I'm like, the heck is going on? And then I saw her, she's kind of trying to like use me as a shield and like duck behind me, because then I looked in front of me and there were stormtroopers in front of me. And so she was like
Oh my
running
gosh.
around trying to hide from these stormtroopers. It was really like, that was the first like 10 minutes I had been inside that land. And I was like, all right, this is freaking awesome.
It
That
it
was really
is
cool.
just Yeah. So like in that area there, if you're into like, the dark side, they have their own store. And then you kind of come around that and there's the milk stand, which I did try the pink milk in Disneyland. They don't offer it in Disney World. And I I can't remember one of the ones I can't have because I weirdly enough have an allergy to watermelon. I know. I don't know why, but I break out in hives. I have anaphylaxis. Like, it's not great.
Oh no.
Um, but the
Oh
pink
wow,
is a
it's serious.
strawberry.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I know. Weird, right? What's in watermelon? Water.
Uh,
But the pink is like a strawberry banana and it's very Laffy Taffy. So if you go into it like I'm eating this like candy, it actually is quite pleasant. And it was pretty warm when we were there.
okay.
My daughter and I split one. It was sugary, so I'm glad we split it, but I enjoyed it. But there's the milk stand is there. And then there's the droid depot where you can build your own droid. And then they have areas in the part within that in Batu where you can set your droid out. It'll interact with other droids. There's an app that you can download on phones, and then when you're at home, you can like have it do things at home, like sing and dance. So sometimes we'll pull them out and have them do that at our house, which is kind of fun. Um, but the one thing that I want to point out, there's a couple things to be aware of. There's a Play Disney app, and in there's like radio signals. You'll hear ambient sounds, but there's a function in the Play Disney app where you can like decode the radio signals in the land, and it's very immersive in that aspect. And then if you have a Magic Plus band, you can do the Bounty Hunter Guild game that is in that
Yeah.
land as well. Now I'm going to warn you, my brother and I did this. I think we walked about 15 miles in Batu because it sends you, there's like a main door, and that's where you like scan to get started. And every time you find your bounty, you go back to this door and it'll like give you points and whatever. That's my one complaint is that when I was in at Star Wars Celebration, I was one of the first people to sit in the Rise of Resistance ride vehicle they had at Star Wars Celebration that year before the ride had
Oh,
ever been
wow.
open. And I got
Yeah.
to stand in like the background or like the backdrops of like the like full size, like this is what the artist rendition.
That's
So
cool.
at that point, they were talking about how you would like earn points and earn credits, and like you would be like known by the different people and vendors in the land by your magic band. They haven't fully flushed that out yet. That's my biggest like disappointment with the land, is that and that's kind of Disney. They
Yeah.
promise big and then they don't always like meet what they promise.
Yeah.
But this Bounty Hunters Guild is fun. I would say, let me tell you, at the end, you win absolutely nothing right now,
Right.
except the joy of knowing that you have collected every bounty they possibly have. But after you collect the last one and you go in, it just starts over. There's no like fanfare.
Wah, wah, wah,
No,
wah.
you don't win a pin. There's nothing like that. So my brother and I did the game. Like we're like, we're going to do it. And we were back there for like 3 hours. And when it got done, we were like, that's
Oh my
it.
God. Oh no.
So if you want to try it out, but you're really not missing anything if you don't finish it. So
Yeah, guess not.
So that's kind of an overview. I would say one of the things I absolutely love about the land, besides, like I said, the ambient noise, look at the ground. There's animal tracks, there's droid trails. The line of sights are very detailed, so you cannot see other lands at all, which I think is great. It really helps with the immersion. And I don't know if they still do this, but at least a couple of years ago, if you went to the creature stall with like a younger child, they had a booklet and you could walk throughout the land and you'd answer questions, really simple things. And then if you took it back to them, they would give you a sticker that had like you were like a creature, like expert or whatever. And my daughter did that when she was
Cute.
probably about like 8 or 9, and she thought it was really fun.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was a great way to explore the land, and have like kind of a guide to do that with. Um, so yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, if you've never been and you enjoy Star Wars, I think you'll enjoy the land. I love it. I try and make a point to go there every time I'm in either Hollywood Studios or DCA, or not DCA, Disneyland, because it literally is like going home. Like when Han Solo says
It's
that on the Millennium
beautiful. Yeah.
Falcon, that's my home.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah. That's like
enough of this happy stuff.
on ET when they on ET when Orbdon says, "Welcome home, you've arrived," and I'm like, "I'm here."
And then it gets trippy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but I totally agree with you. Like I said, even not being a massive Star Wars fan, It's just such a beautiful area, and it's so well done, and it's incredibly immersive. At night, that land is just it's gorgeous, and it's quiet. Even if there's a ton of people in there, there are so many little like nooks and crannies and areas that you can explore, and it's just nice. It's just different, especially like, you're in the middle of a Disney park and they're not. I think we've said this like four episodes in a row now. It's hard to find like a nice little quiet spot
Yeah.
in Disney, but there are lots of them in this land, even if it's packed full of people. I think
Mhm.
it's something special for sure.
100%. All right, I gushed enough. It's your turn to gush away.
All right. So everybody knows that, Disney's got Galaxy's Edge. They've got a couple little immersive areas, but if you want to visit like a truly incredibly immersive land, you got to go to Universal Studios. They are the kings of immersion. How many times am I going to use that word? We'll see. As they build new lands and parks, they are just getting more and more impressive with just the things getting more detailed and immersive. We've definitely seen evidence of this with Epic Universe and the opening of those portals, especially like Super Nintendo World and Darkmoor. Just everywhere you look in these lands, down to the finest detail, everything they think of everything, and everything is polished and perfect and amazing. My personal favorite land has to be Jurassic Park because of just my personal love for the IP and the memories that I've made in that area of the park. I'm wearing my Dinosaurs Eat Man, Woman Inherits the Earth shirt right now. I'm just a huge fan of that IP, so that's always going to be probably my favorite land. But the land that I'm going to talk about in this episode will take a close second to Jurassic Park, and that is the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Diagon Alley. This park is located in Universal Studios, Florida, opened on July 8th of 2014 as the second park in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter after Hogsmeade and Islands of Adventure. I do have a major bone to pick with this land, and that is just because it replaced my beloved Amity Island and the Jaws ride and Captain Jake's Amity boat tours. It makes me very, very sad. And now, like, the only thing we had left was the Amity bathrooms, and now even those don't look the same anymore. There's still Shay Alcatraz, and you still have the hanging Bruce the Shark, and there are different, like, nods to Jaws in Diagon Alley, but I'll always miss Jaws. However, the
Wait.
addition.
What?
What's that? What?
There's nods to Jaws in Diagon Alley?
Oh yeah, there's like 3 or 4 of them. If you look in the record shop window in like the London waterfront area, one of them is "Here's to Swimming with Bow-Legged Women," which is a song that Quint sings. There is somewhere back in Nocturne Alley, there is a giant shark mouth with the teeth and stuff like
Yeah,
that that's
yeah.
hanging up. Yeah, there's
Oh
a
my
there's a couple
gosh.
different little things like that that are just, reminiscent of
Aww.
the bygone Amity
I,
Island.
l-
But
I love that.
yeah,
Okay.
so, you know, comes at the expense of building Diagon Alley. But the addition of Diagon Alley also came with the addition of like the King's Cross station, the Hogwarts Express, that beautiful London waterfront. So it is a very large area that got renovated with this whole changeover. And it really is an incredible addition to this park and something that was kind of sorely needed. You've got that in that London waterfront area, you've got the night bus, you've got the beautiful fountain, you've got the jacket potato stand, which is delicious. Don't sleep on it. So I guess I have to, just had to say goodbye to Jaws. It was time. It was a very expensive ride to maintain just for one ride that didn't get as much attention as it had in years past. And so it was it was time for Bruce to go, unfortunately. Um, But when you enter into Diagon Alley, just entering into it can be a little tricky for those who are not very familiar with the park and the layout and where they're going. But I think that just adds to the experience and kind of the beauty of all of it. But once you turn that corner and you hear the bricks moving, you are literally transported into just a completely different time, a completely different place, a whole different world. And it's really amazing. This land has no view of any outside land from anywhere inside of it. So much like you were saying, you are just completely cut off from the rest of the park, the rest of the world, and all you can see is what's right in front of you in this land. And I think that really just the tall buildings and the scale of everything in Diagon Alley is unmatched, or yeah, at least it was until they opened Ministry of Magic in Epic Universe, because that is Diagon Alley on steroids. Tallest building in Diagon Alley is shorter than the shortest building in the Ministry of Magic, just to kind of put that in perspective.
Okay.
So it
Wow.
is like it's wild, but it's just beautiful, and it's all encompassing and includes all of your senses and is wonderful. I love it. There are even areas of this land like Carket Market and Nocturne Alley, which have complete 360-degree coverage with like the addition of roofs, or like Nocturne Alley, you're almost in like a little tunnel system. So it really just, I don't know, it's just immersion, immersive. Like I said, how many times can I use that word? There's not really another word for that.
It's true.
So
You
it
you
just,
literally feel like you're walking into the movies. It's crazy.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. We have some live events in Diagon Alley. You can, if you want to, include the night bus interaction that you can have with the Shrunken Head driver and then the night bus conductor out in the London waterfront, right near the fountain. You've got the Fountain of Fair Fortune and the Tale of the Three Brothers, which are puppet shows that enact stories from the Tales of Beetle and the Bard on the stage in Diagon Alley. You've got live performances from Celestina Warbeck and the Banshees. You also can go to the Gringotts Money Exchange and exchange actual American dollars for Wizarding bank notes.
We did that.
And you can, yeah, it's so cool. I mean, like I don't know what you're really going to do with that, but just as like a fun little souvenir and a fun little experience, it's just a cool little addition. If you are lucky enough to be in Diagon Alley during HHN, you can see the Death Eaters, and they kind of do their march. A couple years ago, they just had them come out and kind of walk around and do some interactions with guests. Last year, they took it up a notch and they did a show out on the stage that like Celestina
Oh,
Warbeck performs
cool.
on, and had them do the stage performance. And then not only were they also walking around meeting and greeting with guests, but they did um, like a march where they would, each Death Eater would select somebody out of the crowd and point their wands up and do like a death march, I guess, which is kind of cool to see and
Oh,
experience. So yeah.
you
So it's
promise I
really
get
fun
to
to
see
see
that
that.
this year?
Absolutely.
You promise?
As long as
Okay,
they have
good.
it, we're gonna be there. We're gonna be there. And
Okay.
the Death Eaters really became like the Death Eaters became like a phenomenon on TikTok 2 years ago.
Okay.
As like being, how am I gonna put this? PG. They were like sex symbols, basically. Um, I don't know if you saw any of that,
Oh my
but
gosh.
TikTok
Well,
went
now I'm
a
gonna go
little
look it up.
wild. Oh yeah, TikTok went a little wild with the Death Eaters. So yes, definitely look some of those up. There are some interesting videos on there, but it's just, dark and mysterious and a little sexy. They had a female Death Eater last year, which was kind of surprising and was really cool. She was a total badass, so I loved that. I would love to play that part. That would be so much fun. But that's just another immersive thing in the land.
Okay.
As far as food and drink goes, Diagon Alley features the full service, well, not full service, quick service restaurant, the Leaky Cauldron, but it is a full restaurant. This serves English inspired dishes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The Hopping Pot Bar that serves all the Wizarding World beverages, including hot, frozen, and cold butterbeer. And they also have pasties, which are a delicious little snack. You've got several other food and drink carts, and then you have Florian Fortescue's ice cream parlor, which specializes in their butterbeer ice cream. They've got several different forms. I personally am a huge fan of the soft serve, not the hard packed ice cream, but everything is delicious. And if it is even remotely warm out when you go, Florian Fortescue's is going to have a line around the building. So, you know,
It moves
just FYI.
fast. And I
Yeah, it does.
recommend there's like a it's like a butter brickle blondie. It's a hard pack flavor, but it's my favorite. And
Yeah. They also have the one, it's like peanut butter and strawberry jam. That's supposed to be Harry Potter's favorite, and it is really delicious.
yeah. Oh, it's so good.
It's really good.
Nope. We're getting ice cream when we're there too, and you're not going to get me away from that.
Say less. Say less. You're not going to have to convince me. You don't have to work very hard to do that. As far as stores go, you've got Ollivander's Wand Shop, which also is going to include the wand choosing ceremony experience that you can go in and watch. And this one is different than the one that is in Hogsmeade. So there are two similar but different experiences. So if you really love it, it's just a nice, quick little, it's like 5 minutes long. If you've never done it before, it's just really like sweet and kind of touching and heartwarming to see. They choose typically like a kid or like a teenager out of the audience and do the wand choosing ceremony. And it's really sweet to watch. So you can watch that in Diagon Alley. You've also got retail stores like Quality Quidditch Supplies, Weasley's Wizard Wheezes Joke Shop, the Magical Menagerie, which is all the different animals, and there's a really cool like snake display outside of it. Madame Malkin's Robes for All Occasions, Wiseacre's Wizarding Equipment, and then you've got Borgin and Burke's, which is the really neat like darker shop that is back in Diagon Alley, for goodness sake, in Nocturne Alley, which is a really cool location. That is it's one of those little like hidden spots. It's very dark. It's very cold. Great spot to get some really good AC if it's really hot outside.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, get your Florian Fortescue's and then go right around the corner back there and like in Nocturne Alley, and there's some spots where you can do some wand magic back there. That's really cool. You have the Borgin and Burke shop you can go into, but definitely a spot that you shouldn't miss. It's really cool to see.
I like
and then
so I like right the menagerie is right across from the ice cream, and there's like that alleyway where one of the snakes are. There's always an open bench down there, and so when we talk about quiet places, that I never had a lot of people that I've seen in that little spot. I love that. We did buy Lorelai the official robe the first time we went. She is just obsessed with Harry. Her whole room is decorated. Those robes, those things are like high quality. I was shocked.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
And
a lot of
they're
people
pricey, but
but it's worth it. You feel like you're paying for
100%.
Like exactly. If you're going to shell out that much money, like it's worth it for an item that you're not going to wear twice and it's going to fall apart. I still don't understand how people walk around in like 100-degree weather with this giant, head to toe robe on, but I'm not going to knock it. It's really cool.
Oh, yeah.
There's also a lot of areas where you can do magic with your magic wands. There's my favorite is right outside the bathrooms. Again, right there. That's across from Florian Fortescue's. The like main bathrooms of the land are right there. And the only bathrooms in the land are right there. And there's that umbrella and you can make it rain. So it's always soaking wet in that area. If you look and it hasn't rained, you're like, why is the ground all wet? that's why. Watch out for the
Yeah.
umbrella. I have gotten caught under it a time or two when a kid is trying to do magic and I'm trying to go into the bathroom. So watch out, you could get dumped on. But it's so cute to, again, like sit on those benches or have your ice cream and just stand outside of that area and just
Mhm.
watch the expressions of kids or adults. Everybody just loves the wand magic that you can do in those areas. It's really neat to see. The flagship attraction for this land is going to be the Escape from Gringotts. This is a three-door 3D indoor roller coaster that I think is kind of like a mashup between Revenge of the Mummy and Spider-Man. Like some of the roller
Yeah.
coaster elements and
hmm
the like the dark indoor roller coaster vibes of the Mummy and the simulation and screen-based 3D effects of Spider-Man. When this ride opened, it had one of the most beautiful ride queues in existence. Walking into the interior of that bank and seeing the chandelier and seeing the animatronic trolls that are the bank tellers is
Yeah.
like
I
shocking almost. Yeah,
yeah.
I sometimes am almost sad that the queue now typically does not fill all that way. Um, and you kind of just like head right down the stairs now, whereas before you
Yeah.
would get to spend a decent amount of time in that room, that like bank lobby, and see all the different details of these trolls, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
Um,
We like
so
it purposefully walk slowly through there so
yeah,
that we can like watch them move and stuff. And like again, it's a scene right out of the movie to see
it is.
a like a the Gringotts like goblin like right there, and you're just like
Yeah,
I'm convinced one
yeah.
of them is actually a real person. I
Oh,
swear.
they
Like
look
they
so
move.
realistic.
Yeah.
They
They
blink and
move.
they're not like,
It's
yeah, they're
crazy.
very smooth. They're not robotic. It's really
Yeah.
neat. It's really neat. And they've held up, I mean, pretty well.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
this land is 12 years old now, which sounds crazy to say because I feel like it was just yesterday that it opened. But
Yeah.
it's really
And
impressive.
just
It's really
on
neat.
that topic too, for it being 12 years old, it is maintained so well. I feel like
Impeccably.
they must do like repair and stuff on that routinely. It is just,
Yeah.
it never looks like it's been beat up by thousands of people every day.
Yeah. And this land is kind of a conundrum because you can go in there at times and there's nobody there. If you hit Diagon Alley first thing in the morning, or if you're there
Oh
right
yeah.
before park close, or like you're lucky enough to be in there after park close, it is dead. There's nobody there and it's beautiful. It is so cool to see with nobody in it. But
Yeah.
sometimes you turn that corner and walk in and there's 8 million people with their phones up trying to catch the dragon breathing fire. And you're like, "Ugh." I was lucky enough. Oh God, I don't know what year this was. 20, yes, I do. I was pregnant. It was 2022. And I was lucky enough to be on a work convention trip where they rented out Diagon Alley just for us after park close. And so we got it all to ourselves. There were only probably 150, 200 people in there, absolute max.
Wow.
We had the whole land just open. It was a free for all. We went into Florian Fortescue's and grabbed an ice cream and didn't have to pay for it and didn't have to wait in
Oh,
line. We could
that's
just go up to Hop and Spot and grab a butter beer. I was pregnant with my youngest at the time, so I couldn't do Gringotts, but I had my friend with me, and I think she looped Gringotts like 6 or 7 times. Like they never made her get off because there was nobody there. So that was a really cool experience
oh my
to see.
gosh.
It's really neat to see. You can really
That's so
uh
cool.
yeah, you can really appreciate the beauty of this land when it is more empty because you can
Yeah.
really see all of the detail. But
But at the same time, when it is more crowded, you feel like you're Harry getting your school
yeah,
supplies for that first year. Like
Yes,
you still feel immersed in the
absolutely.
experience.
And I feel
So,
like that's
yeah.
how that land was meant to be seen, was with people standing around everywhere, because it just adds to like the kind of chaos of this like brightly colored, strange
Yes.
angular buildings. And yeah, it's really, I mean, you're not going to get a bad view of the land anytime. I don't think. It's just really cool. And um, again, you can't talk about like the land or the ride without talking about the Ukrainian iron belly dragon sitting on top of Gringotts Bank who blows fire. If anybody needs to know, it's every 10 minutes and it's on the tens. So if you're there at 3 o'clock, it's going to go off at 3 o'clock. It's going to go off at 3:10. It's going to go off at 3:20. Don't stand there for 8 minutes with your phone held up, waiting for the dragon to breathe fire. It's on the tens.
Oh, that's
Now you know.
hilarious. I think that is the best piece of knowledge right there.
The best information I can give. It's the best travel agent tip I can give. You don't have to stand there forever waiting for the dragon. Just wait for the tens. And you will hear it before it happens too. You have time to get your phone out when you hear the chains rattling. But that's super impressive to see and really cool. Also awesome to get pictures of at night, if you can get pictures
Oh
of
yeah.
the dragon breathing fire at night. It's really cool. The other ride that's technically in this land, but isn't actually in this land, is the Hogwarts Express, which leaves King's Cross Station via platform 9 3/4, where you can actually see your friends and family run through the wall to get to the platform and hop on the train to Hogwarts. This will obviously take you over to Islands of Adventure. The addition of this land allowing Universal to require guests who want to experience the attraction to have a park to park ticket.
Mhm.
A pure business genius. I mean, that is like, it
Yeah.
was a total game changer, because that is the reason why people want park to park tickets now. Like, I will talk to clients who say, I can't imagine that I'm going to want to park hop. Like, I want to just spend 1 day in each land or 2 days in each land. I don't feel the need to go back and forth. But then they tell me that they're huge Harry Potter fans and they want to make sure they do everything in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. And I'm like, well, you see here about that park to park ticket. So it was genius on their part.
I honestly think I feel like you can't go wrong with a park to park ticket. The parks are so close together. Even if you don't,
Yes,
it can be a wait sometimes for the Hogwarts Express. And sometimes it's almost
sure.
faster just to walk, between the two parks. But it's so short of a walk considering
It
how
is.
many feet, steps you can put on in a day. We've
Yeah.
never done Universal without park to park.
Me
That's
neither.
just how much we love it. Yeah. So,
Yeah, like, I understand Disney, like, for a lot of people, especially if they're like families with young kids and stuff, doing a Disney trip,
mhm.
sometimes I just say, like, park hoppers aren't worth it for Disney, because it's so difficult to get from one park to the other.
Yeah,
Universal,
it takes a
that's
while.
totally different. Yeah, Universal, you're right there. But I love the Hogwarts Express too. It is a must do every time I'm there, no matter how short my trip is. It's just so, and I don't care what it, I don't know. It's just cute. It's just fun, and I love that it's different depending on the way that you go. If you're going
Mhm.
from King's Cross to Hogwarts, then that is the journey that you will take on the train. That is the like thematic elements and stuff like that that are on the train are your journey to Hogwarts, and vice versa when you're coming back. I love
Mhm.
I really like taking it from Hogsmeade and going to Diagon Alley, because I love the part with the night bus. Um, I
Oh
just love the night
yeah.
bus in
Yep.
general. I think it's hilarious, and I
Yeah.
love watching it like squeeze through the little buildings and stuff like that
Yeah.
on the train.
Yeah.
It's always one of my kids' favorites too. I just think it's a really cool experience that I
Yeah.
I
And everyone can go on it, you know?
yes, absolutely. It's like really easy to navigate it with ECVs and wheelchairs and stuff. They'll take your stroller right from you, and you don't have to worry about it until you get off. You get off the train, it's sitting right there. It's a nice, cool way to rest your feet for a few minutes, but also be entertained at the same time, and also get some transportation. So I don't, like, in my head, I don't necessarily classify this as an attraction, I guess, but technically it is. I do wish that there was another attraction, like actual ride in this land. But one, I don't know where they would put it unless they do an expansion of the land, which has been rumored over and over and over and over and over again that they're gonna like move back into, like, blow out the Fear Factor stadium and expand that way. I wouldn't be mad at it, but I also don't know that it's entirely necessary because I love it the way that it is. So,
Yeah.
but I find myself spending a lot of time in Diagon Alley anytime I'm at the parks, just because it's so beautiful and so well done. And it's almost, even though it can be crazy busy, it's almost just like peaceful. I guess same thing with Galaxy's Edge. I get the same vibes from both of these lands. So
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I see that. I was going to say, so the first time we did a family trip to Universal, it was before Epic was even like had been announced. So it was just the two original parks, and I don't think we even stepped foot in Jurassic Park. We saw the arch, which, by the way, that is like probably one of the most classic entries into a land. I love that.
yeah.
We saw it.
Yeah.
But that was even before Velocicoaster. So like we just didn't even go in that area. We breezed through like Toon Lagoon. We didn't really want to do like the water rides, and that's mostly what's there.
That's all that's there.
We spent a fair amount of time in like Superhero Island, and I'm thinking, and that was back when what was it? Across from Mythos was still open.
Science Fury.
Yes, so we did that, but we spent 4 park days. We were there 5 days. We took a pool day, and I think 90% of the time we just stayed in Harry Potter. Like, there were parts of Universal I didn't even know existed until the second time we went, because we were in. And it's crazy how much time you can spend in. Like you said, there's only like one attraction, but if you are a Harry Potter fan,
there's so much to see.
You have to go before you die. Yeah. Like, you cannot not see this. It is experience. Yeah. Like, it just brings so much joy to people.
It's just amazing. Like, it might not have I know a lot of people like really want to see Hogsmeade more because of the castle. Obviously, not right now because it's covered in scrims and looks like crap. But, but everybody wants to see the castle, and I got the pleasure of being with both my sister and my best friend on separate trips, who are both absolute massive Harry Potter fans, and I got to introduce them to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter for the first time, both of them. And so I have a video of each of them seeing the castle for the first time, and both of them just burst into tears because it's like their whole childhood and like what they've loved for so long right in front of their eyes. And Diagon Alley might not have like that one big, incredible, they've got the dragon, but it's not like the castle. But it's just everything else. You are just surrounded by Harry Potter, and it really is just very, very special.
I love that area.
I think these two lands are really good head to head, because I get the same feeling in both.
Yes, and I think they're good. There's good to talk about this because it just goes to show like the ingenuity of the folks that created these spaces, and we get to enjoy them. Like, that is so exciting.
Absolutely. I mean, round of applause for Disney Imagineers and for Universal Creative, because they really knocked it out of the park with these spaces. They're awesome.
The park.
Oh, for God's sake. I didn't even think about that when I said it.
I'll be here all week. Folks.
Oh no.
Anyway.
Okay then.
Well, on that note, I hope everyone enjoyed this episode, and we want to know what you think. Which one of us scored the most hits with the battle? We want to hear from you. Vote in our Who Won weekly poll on social media. We are at Theme Park Throwdown on Instagram and Facebook, and you can also watch video recordings of all of our episodes on YouTube. You can also shoot us an email at themeparkthrowdown@gmail.com. And if you need help planning your next vacation, reach out to either myself or Melinda at portkeyvacations.com and fill out that quote request and make sure, again, you put our names down. We're happy to help. You heard the excitement in our voices tonight. We are jazzed about these parks.
We know our stuff, people.
You could also reach out to us individually through our DM on the social pages. Make sure to check out our sister podcasts. Wow, that's too many S's there. On the UUOP network, the unofficial Universal Orlando podcast, the Taste of Universal podcast, the unofficial Universal Great Britain podcast, the Portkey Passport, a Disney podcast for adults, the Theme Park Duo for your West Coast parks, Rush of Fear, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast, and Big Dumb Stuff. You can also check out our newest network partner, The Fudge Factor, on YouTube for park vlogs. That's it for this throwdown. See you next week in the ring.
Have a good week.